They're in. Let's go, guys. Hype in the chat. Finals time is among us. Tsubaki-chan trying to go on the 7th time champion. Matt Gia going on a 4-time champion. Either way, these tamers are doing some unprecedented stuff in our tournament series. I'm excited. One of these guys, these guys are already in the history books if you ask me. And Tsubaki starting off with the good old trusted Nagai's Golder.
Absolutely. Again, this is one of the safest and strongest openings in the modern Temtem stratagem book, right? Of course, incredibly strong together. Reversing the it's like running Ukama Gaialis, but the other way. If anything. So absolutely speeding up. Voloran, Nidrasil to counteract, of course. The good thing about Nidrasil, Voloran here is that Nagai isn't gonna have fun. And I'm sure Tsubaki knows that this opening is not gonna have fun versus Nidrasil Voloran, so we might see potential swap out here. There's no room for Madness buff. So we're probably gonna see Chamomille's Turok swap in. And I'm interested to see what Tsubaki-chan actually decides to ban here, because I think Machi is going to be banning the Kinu, or the Mashuk, or the Kinu and Turok maybe. Saku ban actually, okay. Interesting ban. Allowing his Mashuk to, I guess, stay in, maybe a playable factor. I was surprised really, because he has a Rolder, right? Rolder has the tough skin, so I thought he would have been fine against Wintems, but regardless, picks up the Mashuk, removes the Saku from play, so removes any sort of idea of sneaky ideas of tank strats really. Well, I say that, but you know, with 3 toxic temps on the field for the side of Magia, the Golder's actually gonna have a solid time at least taking some damage.
Yeah, this is the first time we've seen someone ban the Saku, so Kinu got left behind, but this is the first time Tsubaki, at least for this tournament, we won't be seeing the Saku, and that's kind of been his win condition, so maybe Magia onto the strat to beat him. He did take him round number 1, so Tsubaki learning a thing or two from that experience, of course. But this is it. Time for the finals. Let's get it. Tsubaki, Magia, who's taking it home? We got 3 games, though, potentially 3 games. This is the very first one. Let's see what turn 1 is going to go down. If it's anything like the previous ones, Golder's been electing to go with the Bamboozle and a good old Madness buff, but it looks like the buttons are pressed very fast. These tamers already know what to do. So it will be Bamboozle on the Nagais and Nidrasil popping the spores. And okay, alright, Tsubaki keeping it straightforward here.
Exactly. The Noxious Bomb going to be thrown down on the Naga, of course, with a Strange Vest going to keep it tanky. So did actually opt in for the Madness buff. Okay. Willing to take the damage already, but of course the downside to this is we know that Nidrasil probably won't die to a Psy Surge. Same with Voloran. It's pretty sure it's tried and true. So the second turn is pretty predictable, at least for the side of Tsubaki-chan. There's no way he stays in again, or does he actually?
But yeah, one Noxious Bomb did pretty good there. I mean, the Strange Vest keeping it healthier than it would otherwise. But yeah, maybe wants to say, I mean, what is Nagais there for? Effective damage into Golder, pretty good damage into Koi since it is a Fire Tem. Obviously, really one-shot potential on the Mashuk, so kind of wants to save that Nagais. So see if Tsubaki's considering this. But Magia bringing out the Rotor as he's predicting the Nagais to leave. Oh, it doesn't leave. Let's see if this is going to go unpunished.
This is awkward. Beta Burst comes out and then
yeah, Magia thinking Nagais was gonna leave.
Yeah, I mean, the gamble does not pay off, unfortunately, and Magia probably incredibly sad after that.
Yeah, big read. Sometimes the risk pays off, because another Spore's Noxious Bomb would have brought the Nidrasil very low, and the Beta Burst would have not killed Nidrasil. But Magia, you know how really competitive players do. They try to think a turn ahead So maybe he was trying to prepare for one of the backline temps, perhaps perhaps a Turok. Turok just physical FG for both of these, for the Valoran as well. So we'll see. I mean, one Temtem down, it's only turn 3. And yeah, Magia maybe just sacrificing it, electing to not let his other Temtems take some damage. So there we go. As little as he did, still preserve the HP of his other Tems. Sometimes you just need a Tem to eat some damage, and hey, that was Rotor this turn.
Yeah, and it's just unfortunate. Obviously, percentage plays. Tsubaki basically played the percentages. Thought that he would gamble an 8% HP Naga for a lot of raw damage. Fours on the Valoran for the Tripothecary, so that Beta Burst is actually going to be sufficient defense, but for the Gatling dodges, ignoring the Naga is the most surprising thing about this, actually.
Yeah, you know, the Beta Burst not doing over 50% there, exactly 50.4 remaining, so another Beta Burst actually won't kill, so it has to double that spot with the Golder. But if you double that spot, you leave the Nagai susceptible to going down, or you don't go down from a Noxious Bomb, so maybe not the worst idea. You will be able to outspeed the Ninja with Golder, with the Side Surge, so I can see it. Seems like a somewhat good line of play. If Ninja wants to swap into Mashuk, that's going all the way down, probably as fast as the Rotor did. If Koi swaps out, that's going to be a Toxic Ink into its face, which it does not want to eat. Probably a Side Surge plus Toxic Ink also kills the Koij. I think Tsubaki is looking so strong with this Nagai's already set up and that first turn 2 prediction.
Tsubaki gonna get swapped out here for Naga for the Turok. Now Naga pretty much done his duty, which is fair enough. The Ruler, of course, instantly gambited, so Removal applied as well. So incredibly hard to hold on to this position, actually. The fence is up, raised here. Toxic Plume as well. Gonna do absolutely nothing here. That is a little bit unfortunate here. The Ninja as well, at 50% HP, FG should scare it away at least enough that it has to swap out. The Valoran doesn't have to swap out, but the Valoran doesn't really do damage here either.
Yeah, good stuff. So Turok coming in without much going on. The Toxic Plume not doing so much since the Chamomile is on the Turok. You know, we were wondering, Chamomile on Turok, does it really work? Tsubaki showing time and time again it's pretty good. Not taking a lot of damage. But now Turok is here, pretty good against Ninja and the Valoran. That physical attack into both of those. Of course, the Bark Shield that was just deployed in the turn before is gonna minimize the damage coming out. But yeah, good. We will see. I don't think. I guess Ninja with some the allergic spread or spores could do a little damage, but nothing too crazy coming out from any side. Except that Turok, I want to say. Of course, Golder can't do a lot to Ninja or Valoran. It's just looking like Valoran into the Golder. And guys are back at it for the third time. Let's see. What are we able to finish through? It looks like Ninja took some damage.
I think the good news is that they skipped one turn, but I believe I believe they skipped the 6th turn. Obviously, they haven't implemented the retraction of turns yet, so I literally can't. I believe that was a feature they were talking about, where you could go back in the turns to check the stats. Apparently, that's not added yet. Bark Shield will be added to the Valoran, though, raising the defenses. So the Valoran will be the apex, the win condition here for the side of Magia, but this Lullaby gonna lock on the Valoran. Of course, they're just still with the energy drink will be perfectly fine. The Golder though will rest instead.
Alright, so it looks like we're back at it. So, you know, let's ignore the past 2 times we try to do this. Let's focus up. So Ninja did take some good damage. I'm assuming it was from a 2-rock, but 2-rock retreated. Out comes the Nagais. Bamboozle, keeping the Nagais safe, but wait a minute. Oh wait, no, Volderin's sleeping for now.
Beta Burst's gonna be thrown down. Ninja's for sure dead here. It was gonna be sacrificed for at least a little bit more chunk damage from the Ghoul there, but unfortunately, very insignificant in the grand scheme of things. Again, Tsubaki-chan up 2 full Tems in game 1 here. So, quite a tough... Wait, no, sorry, not... Is it... I can't even... It's game 1.
Game 1.
Yeah,
it felt like we did a couple turns. But hey, Tsubaki did say he felt favored here. So 2 Tems down. Magia with 3 Tems to go. We'll see. I mean, on paper... Let's take it out. I mean, Nagai's Fury hasn't come out, but Toxic Ink is going to do a ton of damage. Not as much as I thought, actually.
And we're just going to be thrown out here. The
Huge.
push for sure. And this is reminiscent of good old Gaialis days, where Gaialis would be unstoppable. Noxious Bomb connecting, and of course the defenses are way too high with the special defenses. And Nagaise for sure swapping here. Mashuk and Volderen, the last 2 Tems.
And I couldn't catch it, Blue. Nagais didn't overexert, right? This is a size surge to kill Mashuk, right? I'm pretty sure he didn't overexert, as I didn't see it. So back to back one-shots. This has been the Nagai show here. Incredible stuff. Yeah, I think Tsubaki will be taking game 1. Magia looking to make a comeback in the following turns. But yeah, Beta Burst for the overexertion. Yeah, one shot for sure. I gave you guys the option. I said, do we want to ban Nagai? You guys voted no. But hey, we'll talk about it for the next ones. But yeah, Volderen, the final Temtem for Magia. Tsubaki still with the Kinu buff 2-rock. Still with, you know, all the Temtems remaining. I think a 2-rock will get the better of Volderen in the long run. Just feather gatling. But that +4 defense gonna make it a bit tough. But let's see. I mean, in terms of the Temtem differential, that is 4v1 situation. Can a Volderen, if there's any Tem, it will be the Volderen.
Yeah, I mean, Volderen has been the only S tier, only Tem to stay in a unanimous S tier since the game started. Oh,
exactly.
Actually, that's a lie.
Since competitive became competitive, Volderen, unstoppable, or not unstoppable, but such a powerhouse, of course. Especially those 2 traits, 2 of the best traits in Temtem. And here we go, Kinu buffing up this Mashuk, perhaps trying to get more tenderness to really put a hurting on this Volderen.
The dogs are mad that this is incredibly... unfortunately, the Volderen is incredibly isolated. So right now, Kinu, Mashuk, I mean, at this point, Magia, I'm not really sure what he's gonna try to push in. HKS did 33% damage with no defenses on the Mashuk, and with now extra defenses, it's gonna be a struggle.
Yeah, it looks like it's all said and done, but you know, it looks that way, but Volderin's still so healthy, so stamina healthy with the sweatband. +4, +2. It's gonna be still a couple turns until this Volderen drops down. So we'll see. I mean, I know Tsubaki's saying like it's so late. I wish Magia would concede, but I don't know. Something's telling Magia has somewhat of a chance. I mean, this 2-rock gonna make it less of a chance. 2 turbo choreography +2 speed on both sides. It looks like a good old perfect jab feather gatling combo might be coming out in these next couple turns, and bringing that defense down to size a little bit more reasonable to end it. But hey, Magia says let's go ahead, let's hurry along to
it's just an unfortunate circumstance, and of course hopefully they'll be fixed up recently. Or relatively soon. That way, inconvenience is minimal, of course, for everybody playing. But regardless, I believe Game 2 is on the way soon. Or they are in fact in Game 2 right now, I think.
Yeah, it is indeed game number 2. of our finals for this weekly 29. Both Golders, guys. Golder OP. Both Golder OP, guys, earning the respect from both of these final tamers. Number one ban on both sides, so saying like, you know, these guys are probably gonna ban my win temp, so I can't deal with the Golder. Instead of dealing with them, let's go ahead and eliminate them from the very first turn. So wow, it's not the Voldrin getting banned, it's the Golder. That's so impressive. So exactly that, the Voldrin doesn't get banned, easy as that, picking it up for the first, for the opening play. So Tsubaki-chan gets his Voldrin. I'm suspecting Matt G is gonna pick his Voldrin too, and there it goes, the good old Volshuk opener. So P-Jab, Feather Gatling, that's what these two were really good. I mean, back right before Kisiwa, Mashuk was in a really fantastic spot. I believe he was A tier, S tier almost. Somewhere in there, just it was so strong, had the Euroshulls, had the P-Jab, had the turbos, and hey, here he is today. Let's see how he's able to fare. Tsubaki considering picking up Nagais for that melee Mashuk. Oh, eyeing the Turok, but Turok kind of not too strong against Mashuk. We'll see what that has in store for him.
Interesting. Turok pick up. I think for the double FG on the Mashuk, I think, for the most part, because it's not like Matt Gia's Voldrin is going to assist the Mashuk in this situation, right? So it really comes down to hoping that the uppercut does more damage than double FG on the Mashuk. And even then, I do think the Mashuk is more valuable here than the Turok, because I mean, really, what does the Turok do? Actually, it stops the Valash pickup, at least, actually. Now that I think about it. So, naturally, it does prevent Valash.
Very true.
I would be surprised if Tsubaki didn't ban Valash, though, because he did ban it last game, and, you know, why change something that worked previously? But I think, then again, because you can no longer run that Naga Golder and sweep everything, it's not that straightforward.
Yeah, definitely. So taking out two of the toxic Tems while Saku's still available to him, so just doesn't want Machia to be in his comfort zone. Machia loves his toxic Tems, so maybe taking him out of the element or trying to throw him off a bit there with those bans. But yeah, already a different game from game one. From the picks alone, Saku comes through. Quetzaleno fish, or you know, firefish, fire koi's picked up with Valash to synergize with it on the side. It should be a good answer against Saku if Saku is not able to buff. And of course, look who's not on the board, Kinu. Kinu gets the ban, so Saku's gonna have a very tough time. We saw Grumper have a stonewall for the Saku, but I don't know. I don't think Grumper's gonna have enough time or as effective as Kinu, of course.
That's a debate going on Tsubaki-chan's head. Do I run a Naga into this, really? Or do I pick up a Grumper and try and set up that way? So, actually, Naga pick up on Machia's side instead, and the Grumper and Tsubaki, the struggle now is when... So, Tsubaki will have to outplay to get the Grumper on the field, otherwise he's just gonna get insta-gimmed. So, we'll have to see how Machia plays into this. He does, in my opinion, have the advantage going into the mid-game. Obviously, with Tsubaki-chan being unable to fully run his stall comp, and Valash and Naga being in the backline to do their thing, which is kill everything.
Yeah, so we'll see how this opening turn goes. Machia, as we said, trying to bring things around against the likes of Tsubaki-chan. He's done it in the past. He's beat him earlier today. I think he's able to do it. The question is he able to do it in the hot seat of the finals? As it stands right now, Mashuk Voldrin a bit of a better start, but of course, this is double win pressure, so I say that. But both sides have a lot of pressure from themselves. If Mashuk P-jabs into Voldrin, you don't do effective damage into Turok. I don't think you want P-jab Turok because you can't follow up, so it seems somewhat straightforward to go. But uppercut into Voldrin. Okay, interesting.
Wow. Uppercut into Voldrin, perhaps thinking the Turok would swap, but the double FG. Wow, both players thinking the exact same thing, I think. Oh, I see. Both players are trying to get rid of the opposing Valoran, but actually Tsubaki-chan, because of that, wins out this trade. Because now, as you can see, Magia actually is doing less damage. Magia will lose this. He will not kill Tsubaki-chan's Valoran, even though he's faster.
Yeah, I'm very curious what the uppercut was about. We usually always see the P-jab. Maybe he did the math. Maybe he saw uppercut was gonna equate to more damage. But I don't know. I feel like P-jab is always for the future as well. If it swaps out, you always have that -1 defense to lean back on. Alright, Mashuk gonna be swapping out. In comes the Valash to see if it comes in safely, because a Stone Ball, of course you don't Stone Ball into a Mashuk. But Hyperkinetic, do we end Magia's Valoran? Not yet.
Pull him attack down! Oh, that's incredibly smart.
That might be smart. Is it enough attack decrease 33%? Is that enough to save the Valoran? I don't know if it is. Oh,
it's not enough.
And it's not.
If the Toxic Plume went off for the Valoran on Tsubaki-chan's side, made an FG, then yes, absolutely. But unfortunately, Tsubaki-chan went first, and then the shenanigans happened. So, unfortunate scenario there. The Valash does come in to absorb the Scavenger buff, although you can't go over 100%, so it doesn't really matter. But Koish now in here, of course, Water Cannon will deal with the 2-rock, but most importantly, because Valoran is threatened by the Sea Spikes, it's actually a safe place to be in, especially since Quetzalero can still clap the Valoran at will for Magia.
Exactly, and I'm very interested. Was the -1 attack? He did get -1 attack on Valoran on 2-rock. That's a lot of value, of course. But it did come at the expense of losing your own powerhouse. You kind of needed Valoran for those noxious bombs onto Saki. You kind of needed Valoran for the Mashuk. But hey, he does got a Nagai's for the Mashuk, so maybe not the worst. He does have answers for the other Tems. So we'll see. Magia not completely out. Has to play it sharp. But now 2-rock might be having a good time against this Valash and this Fire Koish. We'll see. If that was a aerobic Valoran, Valash will have a really good time against it. Of course, that -1 special defense going in. But I don't think it is, as it did a FG and no buff. So that is going to be an anaerobic Valoran as we saw in the past.
This is going to be incredibly curious though as to how this plays out, because if Tsubaki-chan reads this correctly, then unfortunately I don't really see a way out for the side of Magia. But at the same time, if the read is wrong, then the swing suddenly is possible, right? Suddenly you get a free kill, or at least you put the 2-rock and the Valoran in a position where the Gambit is devastating. But of course, 2-rock Stone Ball and the Valash is going to hurt. I mean, there's still the HKS Stone Ball and the Valash, which could just insta-gibbet.
Yeah, a lot of mind games, not necessarily a right play. It's more what's going to be the play to bet on. So here they decided Valash feeling uncomfortable, staring off 2-rock, swapping a Mashuk, trying to eat a stone ball. But there it goes, the toxic synergized water cannon doing big chunk of damage onto the 2-rock. FG trying to get the Mashuk down, and it is effective. A parrier keeping him a bit healthy. What does 2-rock want to do? Yes, so good read for Magia. Looking Stone Ball into Valash and eating it beautifully with that Mashuk.
Yeah, I mean, Tsubaki-chan playing the percentages, they're definitely really detrimented how much damage he would do. And yes, Magia didn't get a kill here, but because they're both low now, it's not really fun to be a 2-rock or a Valoran, is it? Now Quetzalero, again, Quetzaleno's still on the table. Now you can Quetzaleno uppercut the Valoran. The threat is gigantic, still on the side of Magia, and it's not like Tsubaki can really stop this now. Again, Valoran is anaerobic. Perhaps a Noxious Bomb on the Koish could potentially pose a threat, but the minus attack is so big. It's really
definitely.
So big
Yeah, probably not over 50%. But yeah, you know, Koij doesn't have neutral synergy with Mashuk, of course, so doesn't get that 3 prowess, so could go with the play we thought he was going to open with. P-Jab, Quetzaleno, Mashuk, a very speedy Tem, especially with a couple of speed TVs on top of that. So we could get something like that. That would be definitely enough to kill the Volarin, of course. But if Turok stays in, I mean, he's running out of stamina. There's not too much reason for him to stay in, except saving HP, having a free swap in after he goes down. That might be the most value for Turok staying in. And no, Turok saving for a bit down the road. Mashuk is going to be the swap. Let's see what Matchia decides. So HKS, is this enough on the Mashuk? It has a coat if I remember, so not yet.
Yeah, so Mashuk surviving quite big here. Nose is actually used instead onto the Volarin, so just controlling the flow of battle here. But the Mashuk is about to go down. There's still no trade in sight for the side of Magia, and now the Mashuk's on the field with no, again, you can't really stop it anymore. Volarin is dead, so how do you deal with the Mashuk? Well, Naga, of course, but you might be taking an Arusho here, which is the big thing.
Yeah, very true. I could see something like that. Yeah, I mean, the only answer to this Mashuk, your Volarin's down, it will be that Nagai. Volarin is sleeping, so you don't have to worry about a Noxious Bomb on the swap in. What can Koij do? You know, since Volarin most likely wants to swap, it's either Saku or Grumper. Oh, but you gotta decide, are we gonna Leno into that slot or are you gonna Water Cannon? So a bit of a 50-50 there. And well, of course it won't be Turok since it's so low on HP. But does Machia want to try to squeeze in a Nagai's? It doesn't seem the worst. Volarin's running out of stamina. Mashuk won't be doing too much to it. If Tsubaki wants to read a Nagai swap for Magia, it's a perfect time to try to bring in this Grumper. And it won't get punished too hard, except if Koij stays in. Another Water Cannon, that's big damage onto the Grumper as we saw in the previous games. So a tricky turn. I mean, honestly, every single turn in these finals have been pretty complex for these turns. If only we could get a little insight into what's going on in their head. They're probably going over every single line of play. And here they are, finally deciding on one.
Naga gets swapped in here, so let's see if that's red. Tsubaki-chan does swap out the Volarin for the Grumpers. So again, both players knowing exactly what's going to happen, but for the most part, the Water Cannon should not do enough to kill the Grumper. This is a very tanky Grumper as well. So now the problem arises: Water Cannon Beta Burst, does it kill the Grumper? And if so, will the Grumper die before it gets the Thunder Strike off? I don't think that's the case. Grumper should most likely be slow enough that the Koij should go last, or at least second to last here. That should.
Yeah, remember, keep in mind, Blue, most Grumpers always tech to be faster in the Sea Ore than Nagais, unless there's a Psy Surge. I don't know, I don't remember exactly if it's tech to be faster in Psy Surge too. But Grumper very slow, so could be going first. There's no Bamboozle on Machia's side to save that Nagais, as we saw on Tsubaki's side from when he was playing Nagais. So a different story could be painted here. But we'll see. I mean, Grumper is such a devastating 10. 4x damage easily brings it all the way down. Even with Koij getting another Water Cannon, not enough to do it. So Machia retreating the Koij. What does he do with Nagais though? I'm very curious. Oh, keeping it
down, and this is what I'm talking about. This Naga's gonna get obliterated, and Tsubaki-chan takes a gigantic lead. Volarin and Naga both down for the count, and uppercut puts the Mashuk. Well, it actually does very little, but
that was big.
And Naga is devastating loss there, and that is disastrous turn for Magia there. I think the idea behind that play, he wanted to play risky. What the idea was, he was hoping Tsubaki overthought it,
swapped out the Grumper, thinking the Nagais was going to swap out too. But Tsubaki just keeping it straightforward. You don't want to overthink in certain situations, especially when you're a bit ahead. When you're a bit behind, I think like Matt Gia found himself, wanted to do the riskier play. And try to go for it, saying like, Tsubaki, I hope you overread it. Let's say you swap out the Grumper, I get the advantage here, leaving my Nagais, get a free madness buff perhaps, and then you run away with the game. If that ended up happening, if that was the line of play Matt Gia was considering, he would have most likely won. Mashuk would get one shot following that, Turok falls down, Voldrin falls down, and then you got the other temps, you know, Water Cannon, Crystal Spike, perhaps to deal with the Grumper later on. But unfortunately, Tsubaki clicking those green circles, as I saw, gets the better of Nagai. So I think, guys, I don't want to call it too soon. We might have the first ever 7-time champion, Mr. Tsubaki. But hey, let me not get too excited. We got to see how it plays out.
Matt Gia could summon the will of old Gaialis and heat up the Koish, and then suddenly it just pops everything with a balloon. But unfortunately, or he could land a critical strike. That'd be crazy. Critical strike, just destroy everything. But yeah, unfortunately, I don't think that's really going to be the case here. Unfortunately, at least for now, looks like this is going to be rough.
Yeah, I mean, he has some pretty good Temtems. Most likely, Valash is coming out since it's the only thing in the back line. So, of course, that is going to come out. Hyperkinetic cleans up the Mashuk. So, Matt Gia finding himself with the final 2 Temtem. Tsubaki is at game point. This next match, or this match right here, if he closes it out, which it looks very likely at this position, he might be the champion of the Plus Weekly Tournament number 29. It is all the Temtems on Tsubaki-chan's side versus the final 2. These are pretty too good. You got the Koi synergy with the neutral Temtem Valash. Valash able to recover from really low health with Scavenger, but he hasn't madness buff, so a lot easier said than done.
Spike's coming out here to try and shut down the Mashuk. Yeah, but it's all unfortunately consolation damage. The Koish for sure gonna go down as well.
Oh, Koish not able to get a kill onto the Voldrin. I wonder where the Quetzalena was, cause that was a 3 prio move with Valash next to him.
But Matt Gia, I think